Well, it would appear that the PWM module on my laser is working alright. Now this is dark red paper. I might try this again with some white paper in a minute. I'm just trying to work out a layout for a card type thing. But the PWM seems to be working. I have it set to maximum. I was concerned if it was going to be able to burn through paper still. I tested it on some white paper for one of the users, or at least one of my followers had a question if it was still burning through white paper just fine, and it did. Last night, I don't know where the sample page went, I think. Let me get it here. Yeah, that was the white paper test, just on some scrap paper. A little bit of overburn on the sides. It burnt about, that gap is 0.5 millimeter. So you can change the feed rates, but where I have PWM, in theory I should be able to set a power lower than 255, but we'll check that a little bit later. Anyhow, it's a tiny update from the laser until I get a few things going, and that is also just my best rough estimate at focusing, just using protective glasses and targeting on a dark piece of paper. I should probably make a video specifically about doing that, but I've got some stuff I need to burn for the holidays, so I'm not going to adjust the focus just yet until I get all that stuff done. Anyhow, small update for the laser, and as always, thanks for watching. Okay, well this is the intended target. Is I think it's 136 birch plywood. It's a premium model airplane plywood that I used to make firewalls and stuff on my airplanes with. And you can see the card itself is going to be a holder for those USB powered lights. They're very handy for the back of computers and stuff, and actually I use one for lighting some of my stuff up in the workshop table when I'm filming up there. But this whole pattern, as usual, and I've covered it before, is actually made, we'll see if it'll focus, inside Inkscape. You just lay out what you want and make sure you convert your text objects into paths. The same with any other objects you have, and then you set your properties in the properties or tool pane there. Of course, it keeps defaulting to pixels, but you set that drop down to millimeters. Then you could dimension anything that you need in millimeters and know how it's going to come out on your machine, because what you get on the screen in millimeters is what's going to be in the G-code file, which means that's what's going to actually come out on your laser or your CNC or whatever you're working with. And hang on a second here, I lost my mouse. In the G-code, which is running right now here, you can load that file up, and it'll just be the paths, which is perfect. That's what G-code wants, and it'll send that out to your machine. Now I'm using custom firmware on my custom laser, but it's basically following GBRL instructions with a few extra custom things specifically to the laser that I use. Anyhow, that's going to be the intended use. I'm going to probably cut that wood out with a pair of heavy shears, and then the opening for the little light, I'll probably take a Dremel to that. But this lets you get your pattern on your work or engrave it. And again, this was just a test of my PWM set to full. I wanted to see if it had the same burning strength as when I was using just a relay, and it appears so now that I've got it focused a little better. And that's how it looks when you're burning directly onto a nice flat piece of birch. Just a supplemental bit about when using the craft paper, some of the darker colors like the red, the beam is not focused quite right, or if you're getting a little bit of heat through the side of the paper, you're going to notice the dye sublimates out, and that can be an indication that you're not focused quite right, or maybe your feeds and speeds are off. But it's also kind of a cool effect, and it'll show up as a glow in the color of the paper that you were burning below. And this is when I was just doing the test pattern, and you can see it kind of went a little bit past the lines, and I just wanted to mainly test that the plan was going to burn the correct path, and then it was also going to fit the intended little USB light module would just perfectly fit in that spot. and as you can see, it fits perfectly there. But again, if you're getting a lot of this dye sublimating out of the paper into the cardboard below or whatever you're burning on, it could be an indication that you're not focused quite right. Now I just focused manually. Well, anyhow, as always, thanks for watching.
Happy holidays.